friends, welcome to the Knitting Samurai and Her Guys video podcast. I'm your host, Steph, and this is episode 168, Shawls for Falls. How have you been? Oh my goodness, it's been a while since we've visited. This is Linus. He's my co-host today, apparently, and he's so funny. Can I just tell you for a second that Mac, our other cat, has this, he's a bit overweight, and he has this deep, burly rumble when he purrs, you know, and it's just steady. Whereas Linus, who's a bit on the thin side, he's probably just average size, he's not thin, but compared to Mac, he looks thin. Anyways, when he purrs, it's like he's out of breath, you know? Like, he purrs and it's like, purr, purr, purr. And then he'll get into it and he gets going with a big steady purr. So it's funny to listen to him warm up and get like the rhythm right and get his purring in sync. So he's here with me today and you are too. So thank you so much for joining me. I love talking about knitting and my boys, my cats, and my family, my two sons and my husband. So it's just guys everywhere around here. So that being said, this is time to talk about knitting because I am really pumped to show you what I've been working on. I know that Pokemon is a thing and I may need to go to Pokemon Anonymous, but for now I have been doing a little bit of knitting, so that's great and makes me really happy that I'm sort of balancing out a little bit. But I'm still playing Pokemon, but I'm not playing it nearly as compulsively as I was, so that makes me feel good that it's like 2 months into this game and I'm like mellowing out on it. So coming back to my knitting self makes me happy. So first up on my needles is the Song of Sorrow by Sara Gresbach, and I knit this using Knit Picks Essential and Cascade Prints, which is a Cascade Heritage Prints. There we go. And this colorway is Aqua Soul. Both of these yarns are a 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend, and they are fingering weight. So that's what's on the needles. I'm using size 6s. I am going to make more of an attempt to tell you the content of the yarn I'm using, just because for myself, like, that takes the visual aspects of podcasting a little bit further when I can picture the yarn that you're using. Like, tell me a little bit about the content. I know what that feels like in my hand. So I'm going to try and do that for you to make this a little more of a tactile experience. So here is the shawl so far. You may notice that I have begun the cast off. I will tell you that I love the knitting of this pattern. I thought it was awesome. It flew off my needles. Should remember that. It flew off my needles. And when I got to the end, I thought, oh, it would be so cute with a little picot bind off. So I looked at my cast on and bind off, whatever that book is, the little, it's a little ring bound, small book, paperback book that came out a few years back. It's the first time I think I've used it, actually. I bought it thinking this will be a necessary resource, but I don't do enough ad hoc, you know, veering away from the pattern or designing my own to make it worthwhile. But I did for this. So I looked up the picot, and I think they had 3 different picots. So I picked the one that looked closest to what I envisioned for a picot edge. And this much the bind off halfway, I stopped because I was like, oh, hallelujah, I made it this far. It took me an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, it took a whole evening to do this. And so it's slow going, but I like the effect for sure. I think it's going to be really pretty when I block it out. I need to have a blocking party because I think this is the 3rd shawl that I finished that I need to get some blocking in. So it's coming. I can foresee it in my future. I will say that I was a little disappointed that once it was off the needles to a point where I could pull on it and wrap it up, putting it on the, no, this is unblocked. The tail goes to about there. That's a halfway point. And that's how deep it's going to be. So that's, for myself personally, I like a narrow shawl that is very long. So I don't like to knit scarves, but I like the look of scarves. So I'm hoping that when this is finished, some blocking, some severe horizontal blocking will help it, and it'll shorten it up because you can't go both directions. You can only you pull far, if you stretch it beyond belief on the horizontal, then the length of it shortens up. Because it can't go both ways. So far so good on this, but I will tell you that I am knitting 3 shawls right now. It is shawl season in Stephaниeville. And all 3 of them are using Knit Picks Essential Kettle Dyed. So I have quite a bit of this in my stash. It was a staple yarn for knitting cable socks for a really long time for me. I say that for a couple years. Anyways, so I have a pretty healthy stash, and it looks great with a variegated yarn for contrast. So that's why it's coming to the forefront, and I'm knitting it up. But there is a little voice in the back of my head going, if you use it all up, you're gonna have to replace it. Because those are yarns that I'm like, no, I need to have this as part of my stash. So there's that. You'd be so proud of me. I wrote these really gorgeous show notes. I was gonna be so organized. I was gonna tell you contents and designers, contents of yarn and designers of patterns, and it was gonna be a beautiful show. And then I left my notes at the office. So I've got them up on my computer over there and my mouse over here. So I'm scrolling and I'm working it. I'm working it. So the second thing on my needles, you've seen this before, is the Kline shawl. And this is by Jennifer Dassau. Again, with the Knit Picks, nope. Not that one. Knit Picks Essential. This time I'm using the purple color. You remember we spoke about this last time, that I had knit 2 pairs of socks with it. And here it is in its gloriousness. I actually had some technical difficulties, so this is the second time I'm recording, but I can tell you that my stitch marker, I've done about 1 inch since you last saw it. I moved it during the last segment, but it didn't capture. So trying again. The variegated is Blue Moon's Fiber Arts. And so for half of the shawl, it's the accent color, and the other half, the purple color, will be the accent color, and the variegated will be the main color. And that's kind of like the candy at the end. Like, it's not at the end for sure, because it's the back half of the shawl, but I'm really looking forward. Why didn't you tell me my earring was falling out? Okay, it's fixed. I'm really looking forward to knitting with the Blue Moon Fiber Arts. It's medium weight. It's a rare gem. I got it at Rhinebeck. I love this color. So it's kind of like the carrot, you know. Let's get to the point where I can knit this. So, but this is definitely good take along, movie theater, mindless knitting. On one hand, that's great, and on the other hand, that's like, oh, I really don't want to knit that because it's not challenging. So, doing some of both. This is knit on US size 6s, and my third shawl. Wait, if I take off my glasses, I'm gonna put them back on. I took them off because I tend to take them off thinking that there's a glare, but then I can't read my computer screen, which is over there, because I am distantly challenged. I don't know which kind of sighted that is, but that's the sighted I am. How's it going, y'all? Okay, the third project. You have not seen the last 2 that I'm going to show you before. And you got a little preview because I left one of them out. I'm going to hide it. So this is called the Mad About Plaid. It's a cowl, and it's designed by Alexandra Davidoff, and it's from Knitty. First fall, not second fall, first fall 2016, and I am flying through this project. Let me just tell you, it's knit on the pattern called for 5s and 6s. I'm picking up needles I dropped. Called for 5s and 6s. So I used the 5s for the ribbing as it called for. This is a free pattern, not giving anything away. But the yarn I'm using is a worsted weight yarn, and once I started the color work section of this, color work on 6s with worsted weight, no, not a good choice. So the fabric could stand up on its own. It was super dense. I can feel the difference actually just holding it like this. So I went up to size 7s. I could have gone to 8s, but I didn't want the cowl, which is a straight up cowl. I didn't want it to be like a super hourglass, so I just stayed with the 7s. That's fine. I think it'll be drapey enough. I am using a discontinued yarn, which for me gets it out of my stash. So I had just about 1,700 yards of this yarn because I bought it intending to do a sweater in this main color of teal, this Barocco soft twist, which is I'm looking at the wrong one. 59% viscose or rayon, whichever one you want to use, 41% wool. So it has a high sheen factor to it, which also with the viscose makes me say it's not going to block very much well. And it's wool without being too itchy. So it's high shine wool. It's basically an alternative to a wool silk. That's what it looks like to me. If I didn't know what was in it, I would think it was a wool silk filament. But it's Aran weight, and I want to say it's like a 10 ply. Splittiest yarn you ever knit with. Totally understand why they discontinued it, because on 5s, 6s, and 7s, I was splitting it every time, almost every stitch. Like, it was making me crazy to knit this. But I persevered. I was like, I gotta keep on. I gotta keep on. I want to show my knitter friends, so I gotta keep going. Plus, it was only 5 pattern repeats, so I was like, just a couple more, and it'll be done. This is going to use an end close to, what did I say, 800 yards. It weighs a ton. It is so heavy. 800 yards of worsted weight. I feel like this should be a little boy sweater. So for sure, the fact that it's color work and it has all this stranding on the inside means it's gonna be super warm to wear. I did use this gold color as the accent color. I had a chartreuse color, which I probably would have been prettier, but I only had 1 skein of that and I had 2 of this. So this is what I went with. Sorry, I ran out of breath. Does that ever happen? That you talk so much that you're like, wait, I just gotta take a second and breathe. So this is the Mad for Plaid. The pattern shows it in a black and a red, which is great, but teal is my favorite color. So that's the way I went. You can't tell where I switched needle sizes. I can't tell, but I can feel it, right? So I will definitely be blocking this horizontally again. Super dense. Love the way the plaid turned out. I would say this is minimal brain power for high reward, if that makes sense. Like, usually color work, you know, it's a tree, whatever, you have to pay attention very closely. For this, I didn't have to so much because of the box pattern of it. So it was a fun knit for sure. And I am up to ribbing at the top. It has ribbing at the bottom and at the top, and then I'll be done. So I just need to bind this bad boy off. So there you go. Knitting, first fall. After I found this, I think I was looking for inspiration around every corner I could find. And I spent an evening, I spent an hour just searching around on Ravelry, and I looked at probably 10 back issues of Knitty and just looking around. What's hip, what's going on in the knitting world, which I've kind of been away from and not really feeling a part of with all my Pokemon focus. And it was exactly what the doctor ordered. It made me want to cast on everything my cube group, which is fine. And they all went to the top. Like, that's how you know you're feeling inspired in my mind. Okay, wait, back up. That's how Stephanie knows she's feeling inspired. She doesn't just add it to her cube. She puts it at #1 in her cube. And I think I put 6 or 7 new things at the top, and it was like, I want to cast that on now. I want to knit that now. So this was very rejuvenating for me to cast this on. It also led me to the point where I was like, I like that, I like that, I like that. I'm gonna put those 3 together. So my 4th project I've been working on is designed by yours truly. It's called The Curve. It's the tentative name, and I am going to definitely hold me to this, run with this shawl design and publish it and do the whole 9. I haven't published a knitting pattern in 6 years, 7 years, a long time. I used to publish pretty frequently, but also work was a different situation for me, and I had more free time, and knitting was more of the focus of my life than it is now. Now it has a nice place. It's a balance between work, knitting, and family. So, and I would say back in like 2006, I had an unhealthy focus on knitting. I was trying, well, it wasn't unhealthy, but I was trying to make it work. I was trying to shift my work towards my knitting, and I quickly saw that that made it not a lot of fun, and I put it back in the hobby place and made work work. So, all that to say that this is the pattern I'm working on. So here you go. This is what you can see. This is not Kaiju. That's a Pacific Rim monster. Koigu PPM in, I think it's called Ocean is the colorway. Oh no, it's called P820, and it was a gift I got from Heather 219. So thank you, Heather. I love this color. It's so perfectly me. I was completely inspired and pulled it out and was like, yes, that's what I want to use. So that's what this is. And you know what's funny? The Koigu is 1.75. I'm pretty sure the Koigu is the same base. Let me show you. Oh no, I don't have it. Oh yes, I do. Linus is hiding it. Is the same base as Claudia hand paints. It's that really chunky twisted. Maybe it's a 2-ply. I don't know, but it's my first love. Do you remember me saying that Claudia hand paints was my earring's coming out again? What's up with this? Is it hitting? Oh, it's probably hitting on my shirt collar. Anyways, Claudia hand paints was my first love. Fingering weight. I love this yarn. I have so much of it in my stash. It's not even funny. I probably have 10 different colorways, and I've knit several shawls. I've knit socks out of it. I've knit a ton out of it, and I accumulated a lot of it. She was my first hand-dyed love. So, but this base, I think is the same. It's the same content, 100% merino. It's 1.75 somethings. No, it's 175 yards to 50 grams. Like, it seems like it's the same. And these two colorways seem very, very close to me. So I cast on with the Koigu. Why can't I say that word? I cast on with the Koigu. I decided my contrast color would be this gold, Knit Picks Essential, the gold. Because I bought this, I'm sure I bought this thinking of my dad, but I don't want to knit gold socks. So I'm using that as the contrast color in here. And it's all bunched up on my needles, but it's going to be, like I said, I like a long shawl, narrow, with the interesting directional changes in the stripes, because it's ultimately going to be a stripe between these two colors. So I'm excited. I'm working on it. I'm on step 3, and there will be 22 steps, so I'm not that far into it, but I have the instructions all written out, so I'm like test knitting it for myself, and it's a fun thing to do, you know? What's more inspiring than designing? I don't know, but I'm really enjoying that. So I am using US size 6s for that, and I pulled them off something else that was hibernating. I think it was a hat, but it made me go order some Knitter's Pride carbons from Amazon. And do you know what I just realized? These came in the mail today. I opened the box, I brought them upstairs. It's like, I'm gonna record and then I'm gonna knit. And so I'll have them, and then I looked, and one's a 5 and one's a 7. I don't need any more 7s. I have like 6 knit pick tips that are 7s, and no knit pick tips that are 0s. That are 0s, no, that are 6s. All of my 6s are in use. So really, what I need most of all were 6s. So I don't understand how I ordered 7s. I need to double check that, because that's a little crazy. But I do have new needles, and I do love those. The carbons, I love the weight of them versus the Knit Picks interchangeables, and I can see myself slowly switching over to these. I've been highly devoted to Knit Picks interchangeables probably for 10 years. Like, I was not an early adopter, but like a year after they came out, I bought the kit, and then I've just been adding to it, and those are all I use. I love them. I love them. I have no problems with my joins. Like, I don't knit the crazy, not crazy, but I don't knit whatever way it is that causes them to unscrew. So they work really well for me, but the carbons are causing me to look around and consider my options. So, because I always love to try new needles, but the carbons are really the only ones that have enticed me to go elsewhere. So there's that. I think we're up to what's going on with us, with Knitting Samurai and her guys, for sure. So what's been going on? I need to get to a knitting point. Can I get to a knitting point? Can I talk to you about my Tristan for a minute? So that's my youngest son. He is 2 years and 3 months old. And he is a talking and singing machine. He sings all the time. And it amazes me, because he and I drive 20 minutes into work/school. His daycare is in my building. where I work. We drive in the 20 minutes and he sings the whole way. He sings different songs and he sings almost the whole time. It's so funny, and does the same thing on the way home. Like, I'll get him to answer some questions, best part of the day, who did you play with, what did you play, and he'll tell me that stuff. But really, he wants to sing his songs, and his favorite song is Down by the Bay, where the watermelons grow. That one, you know. He sings that a lot. He sings Itsy Bitsy Spider. He sings Tiny Turtle. I don't know, like, that one was new to me. I had to learn that one. But he sings that a lot. He sings his ABCs. He sings Twinkle Twinkle, Baba Black Sheep, you know, all the ones with the same tune. He loves to sing. So that's him. And when he gets home, and now we've actually started carrying Legos in the car, Duplos, the bigger blocks, because he just plays and plays and plays with his Legos. First thing he wants to do in the morning, he'll come downstairs, bypass the dining room table where breakfast is, straight into the playroom, and immediately start playing with the Duplos. And same thing at night when he gets home. His teachers actually noticed, and one day this week they made a whole activity out of playing Duplos, and it was totally centered around Tristan, because that's all he wants to do. He brings them to school, he brings them in the car, he brings them home, he brings them everywhere he goes. He brought him out to dinner the other day. He was the best behaved I'd ever seen him in a restaurant. He had 4 Duplos, 4 of them, and he just kept reassembling them different ways into different shapes, and he just sat there and was so happy until the food came. It was awesome. So that's Mr. Tristan. And Roro, what's going on with him? So he's my big 5-year-old, and he is now a month into kindergarten. He got to be the helper this week. That was the big news in Roland World. So he got to take down the lunch order to the office and to the calf. I walked down to the calf. I know where the calf is. It's so funny listening to him talk about it. And he got to do the calendar, which for some reason that is the highlight of kindergarten for him, is this calendar. They daily, like, they sit around in the circle on the rug, the alphabet circle, or the alphabet rug, which he had at his preschool, but the calendar is the bonus. At first he really liked the calendar and the weather, but now the calendar has taken over. And yes, he is still Pokemon crazy. He's got his new twin size bed. I don't know if he had that when I last spoke to you, but he's been sleeping in a twin size bed. So at 3 he got a toddler bed, and at 5 he got a twin size bed. Tristan is 2 years, 3 months, and I don't think we'll make it till 3 till he has to have the toddler bed, because he wants to climb out all the time. At least in the morning, like, I'll walk in and I'll go to hug him and he's like climbing, his legs hanging over. I'm like, stop it. He doesn't do it when I'm not in the room, or at least if he does, he gets back in before I get in the room, because I never find him like half hanging out. But I think I take too long to get him out of his crib. I think that's what he's trying to tell me, like, Mommy, get a move on. Yeah. What else? So there's that. I give Roland the choice today. He could come home on the bus, or he could go to the YMCA after school care program, because I knew I was going to be home early today. And he totally chose to go to the YMCA, which makes me super happy. Like, that's what he does 5 days a week, and he likes doing it. Yay! So there's that. Tomorrow we're going down to my favorite aunt and uncle. Going to visit in Western Massachusetts and go to a Pokemon birthday party. How could we not go? I mean, come on. We'll drive to his cousins. We'll make the trip for sure. So that's what's on our agenda for this coming weekend. The boys started swimming lessons last weekend, and so Tristan's in the lessons that are with a parent, and Roland's in the unassisted ones, and he did a great job. He was like a fish in water, which makes me so happy to see him there. Hopefully this year he'll graduate to level 2. And Tristan was unsure, but over the course of the swimming lessons he got more into it, so that was good to see. And now I think these 2 cats would like some attention, so I'm gonna call it a day, and I'll see you in about 10 days or so. All right, take care. Hey.